guys?
Hey, Rob.
All right, cool. Thanks, Matt.
We'll get started with questions for Coach. We'll start with Jeff Skaversky. Go ahead, Jeff.
Brett, yourself and this team obviously have talked all year about being built for the playoffs. Just how tough is this of a pill to swallow today?
I mean, it's difficult.
We'll go to Kyle.
Hey, Brett. So, I know we talked some about you having to think about your future and what have you coming into this game. I guess with everything, with the team up in the air right now, what do you look back on from the last 7 years and, look fondly on and feel proud of?
I mean, really, Kyle, I have thought a lot about really the series. I hear your question. Right now, my thoughts are really with the game, in the series that's just gone by. And that's really where my head is at. Okay,
so do you feel, at least like this game, the effort, the spirit that you guys had, do you feel good about that considering, the 3-0 deficit and what you guys are facing, that you guys came out and competed today?
I think for the most part we did. I feel like the game flipped when Tobias went out. I think it was a 2-point game, 3-point game at that stage. I think that they went on a 16-2 run during that period, and at that moment, the game changed. Up until that moment, I felt pretty good about what we were doing.
Thank you, Brett.
You're welcome, man.
Serena is next.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Tobias, and obviously that was, really tough to see him go down. But, what does it say to have him come back into this game and fight through that to be with this team at the end?
I mean, it's what we all have known him to be. He has emerged to be a very consistent leader, like all over the place. I feel like I've shared this, and apologies if it's repetitive, but it's true. He's just high character. He has got way out in front of all of the racial injustice platforms that we have discussed amongst ourselves as a team. His voice in a locker room, his voice on a bus, team meetings, team dinners, whatever. Him coming back out after he took an incredibly hard fall did not surprise me.
When you look back on this series, Coach, what is going to stick with you the most?
I mean, missing Ben will resonate for a long time, especially given what he did to prepare himself to play in the series. The difficulty of guarding the Celtics wings, you live every time you play them. They got so much firepower, and you really need to have a stable of able, senior veteran type mentality, defensive players on a bunch of really good scorers. And I will think of that. Obviously, the way our season ended is disappointing. You can't obviously phrase it any other way, but really trying to guard those wings was difficult.
Keith Pompey will have the next question, and Al Horford is available on the locker room screen right now for those who don't already know, but go ahead, Keith.
Brett, you talk about today's game, but what really sticks out to you the most about this season, this whole entire season, and overall the whole 7 years? I mean, you took the team from the process.
I mean, I prefer just to talk about, from a historical perspective, we could talk for hours. This season, to me, was riddled with an amazing abundance of injuries. I think this season was a challenge trying to put people, where they should have been placed. I liked where we ended up getting Ben off ball and the things that he did, as a sort of foreman. Like we all get, he's an NBA All-Star as a point guard. It shows his versatility. But in general, ending with Ben's injury this year, you just really never felt like you jumped into a routine and a rhythm. And that's probably the thought that will linger the most.
In regards to Joel, were you pleased with the way he played in this series?
I am. I think he's improved as a post passer. I think what he did out of the post was quite impressive. There's still obviously a long ways to go as it relates to all of the reads, but I thought that he was a willing passer. I thought he was a skilled passer. I was proud of what he did in the playoffs as a post player and from the intellectual standpoint side. I think that his ankle at times bothered him. He didn't really let many people know about it. He played through it. He and I communicated about that often. And I think just look at what he did in the fourth period in a game that was going south at the end of the third period. I believe he had 17 points in the fourth period, or 14 points in the fourth period. Was a admirable effort.
And just one last question: Do you ever think that we got to see you at your best with all the injuries and everything that you had to deal with?
Brett Brown or the team?
Brett Brown.
No.
Can you elaborate on that?
No. Thank you for asking the question.
Josh Richardson is available in the locker room. The next question for Coach will be from John Clark.
Hey, Brett, I'm wondering this whole entire season, when you bring in Al Horford, and a lot of you described playing maybe a little differently with Al, how difficult, and was it more of a challenge than you expected to integrate him and get all these pieces to fit together? And then, of course, injuries, changing a style, and then doing it again here for the playoffs without Ben.
I mean, it was difficult, but that is my job. That's the job of an NBA head coach. You got to take the team that you have and try to maximize it and get the most out of it. And I did not do that. And we came in and we talked about, smash mouth and bully ball. We're built for the playoffs. We're big. Really, all of those kind of phrases equal, man, we have a huge team. We have a big team. And the thing that I found the most challenging as the season played out, space became an enormous issue. And, effectively you had a mismatch every possession down the court. And the fact is, that's Joel's world. That's Joel's domain. And trying to help the team, trying to coach the team, conquer that problem, I felt was a challenge. And, from a spatial issue, from a team sort of design, that was an area that we needed to get done. And I don't believe I did that great of a job coaching that.
You're saying you didn't do a good enough job of coaching that, but in the end, seeing a whole season of this, do all of those pieces and Al fit together?
I mean, I think that they can. I think that they can. As I admitted, like I didn't do a great job of coaching that side of it to project out and say, can it happen? I believe that it can. It just it needs substitution savvy. It needs a bunch of things to get it as perfect as you wished you could have.
Last question for Coach will be Howard Eskin. Go ahead, Howard.
Brett, barring the injuries, because every team has them, and we all know that, and you look back at the season and the playoffs, why wasn't this team better than the previous year? Why did they take a step back? And really, everybody wants to blame the coach, and they want to blame you. And you just touched on construction. But is this team really constructed well enough to go deep into the playoffs?
I mean, I'm not going to answer sort of that question right after a game that we've just lost. I think that your point about like how did we lose like we lost in the playoffs, or how did we lose in the regular season? It is true, Howard, what you say about every team has injuries. This is true. I don't know of many that only 19 out of 65 times had your starting group. It was a massive overhaul for me, trying to help the team, coach the team. I think this particular series, I was worried from the beginning just because of matchups. I think that Glenn Robinson not being available, people I don't know if you write about it or talk about it, but you should. Ben's the obvious defensive problem. The pace of Ben Simmons hurt us. I underestimated. I overestimated our ability to get stuck into people and guard those wing defensive players with the group that we had. And, Kemba's punishing, Tatum's punishing, Jalen has improved a lot, to name a few. And I think that's how I see the Celtics series 10 minutes after it's just ended.
Well, good luck to you, Brett.
Good man, Howard. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.